Welcome to another That's What They Said podcast where we question the questionable lyrics of your favorite songs. Sarina&Scott Spinelli talking Come On, Eileen by Dexys Midnight Runners.
Yes.
Scott.
Turns out we've talked about this throughout as this is potentially, or no, this is, I'm sorry, not
This is our live. You're going to maybe do another podcast without me.
We're replacing you. This is how you find out. No. We've talked about this in so many of our previous episodes. It's sort of only fitting that we do this on the final one of the season at around 50, which is that we've talked about, just different spellings and, how they've Sly and the Family Stone, Sly and the Family, all these things. And throughout the, Panic at the Disco with an exclamation point in the very beginning, Panic. Disco. I think now they're just Dexys.
They're just Dexys.
Yeah.
And there's no apostrophe. It's just
there's no
Dexys.
Apostrophe. Just Dexys. They used to have the apostrophe. Now they're just Dexys. And apparently they're not doing a lot of running at around midnight any longer. So
the drugs ran out, Scott.
Yeah. And before we go any further too, I also want to say that this is a suggested song by my good friend Rob. So thank you for the suggestion.
Thanks for
Rob.
listening.
Yeah. And this was I know he listens because out of nowhere he texted me. He goes, "Your Otis Redding take was one of the stupidest things I've ever heard." I was like, well, glad to hear you were listening. Thanks so much.
Well, not many people say Otis Redding is a tad overrated.
I think if people were just willing to open their minds to the possibility, we'd see. But I don't want to do that again.
No. Him nor Dr. Dre. I'm keeping track of people you think are overrated. I'm sure I'm on that list, but thankfully I haven't put on an album so that we don't have to discuss that here. Dexys. It's a great karaoke song. This is a song.
Wonderful. And I hate karaoke, but yes, you are right.
Yes, as the one karaokeer in this band. I love it.
We are. Yeah, we're a little duo.
It was founded, this group, which is formerly known as Dexys Midnight Runners. They started back in 1978 in England. You can unlike the Spice Girls, the Beatles, where you're like, I can't tell if you're British in your songs. You can definitely tell
100%
that these guys, they don't mask that accent at all.
No, and also, at least in this song, the sound has that sort of, it just has that sound to it that it's,
Yeah. It sounds more Irish, but
that's what I was saying. It sounds Irish, yeah.
Who am I to say? The Puerto Rican Colombian has no sense of.
I don't have any Irish in me either, but they were big apparently in the UK before this song. This was their only song that did really well in the US. But were you surprised to learn that they had and have since had a pretty big career in the UK, but the only song that ever really translated here was this one.
Come On, Eileen.
It's weird because it's almost like it would be like if Chumbawamba was enormous wherever they were from, and then only had that one song. What was it? Tub Thumping.
I get knocked down. I get up again. Are they Australian? Okay,
wherever they're from, but then they just had an enormous career before and after, but the only one song translated. I don't know.
That's a good comparison. It was the second studio album, Too-Rye-Ay.
Yeah.
So, no one's ever going to copy that name. So they had all these, I'm going straight to Denver Nugs here, because they had all these changes in their group. No one was really consistent outside of Kevin Rowland. Everyone else, 3 albums, 13 singles, and only the co-founder, Kevin Rowland, made it through all the transitions. And then
revolving door in the group.
Yeah. This is a band that really doesn't look like they should be a band too. Watching the music video, I was like,
music videos.
Are you confused?
Well, the music video also too, a lot of denim, a lot of accosting women, a lot of people wearing overalls that should not be.
Everyone, I think there's one choice.
There's one uniform. It was you were
wardrobe rolled in with just overalls, and there were only denim ones.
From the Ronald McDonald and Doug Funny school of clothes, where you have one style of everything, for everything. I mean, obviously their name is a reference to sort of a Dexy,
Drug.
a
Dexy.
recreational drug used to help people stay up all night and dance. So that's where the name comes from. It is interesting though, like Dexys Midnight Runners is like kind of a fun thing, right? Where you think about it, what they're just saying is like basically like we like to stay up and do coke. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I'm not saying it is coke, but you know what I mean. It's just like it's basically like like it's.
It is a pretty way to say we do coke.
Yeah.
Dexy's Midnight Runner. We do coke. That title took over. We do coke. So yeah,
exactly.
I drink coffee and I fall asleep at like 2. You know,
same. Yeah. I also, by the way, so the Too-Rye-Ay, all that stuff, that's apparently from an Irish American lullaby. And it roughly translates, as I understood it, right, to like, goodbye, I'll see you again, something like that. Did you see that as well?
Oh yeah, I did. But
so that's what I found. Gaelic is a tricky language. Do you know anything about Gaelic?
As much as I know about Latin, but they sound the same.
So I met a woman who was from Ireland when I was abroad once, and she spoke to me in Gaelic once. I was asking her about it, and she was speaking in Gaelic, and it truly felt like I was having a stroke. I couldn't understand, and it was almost like she was speaking. It was like that. That's how it hit my ears. Whereas, like, if I hear Spanish or if I hear Italian, Romance languages, even Chinese made a little bit more sense to me, at least because I grew up with it. Not in terms of understanding what the words mean, but just like the pacing of it.
It was a familiar sound.
The Gaelic was very confusing. So
yeah. I grew up part in the Bronx. There's like Norwood, which is a group of Irish, like a big group of Irish community. Karen McSweeney obviously she's. But holy cow! You remember Karen McSweeney?
Yes,
anyway, yes. And her family.
What a throwback name.
They. I mean, I would go over to their house and eat like Irish food, and I was like, "This is brand new to me."
Yeah.
They opened my eyes to things.
I think a lot of it too, though, is like in America. Well, at least let me rephrase. When you live in a city, you can go to there's a lot of Hispanic pockets. You can go to Chinese restaurants. You can go to Italian restaurants. You can go to Korean restaurants, especially in New York. There's not a lot of Irish restaurants. There's Irish bars.
Yes.
But there's not a lot of Irish restaurants where you would be unless you, in your situation, you had a friend and a family who made food and then spoke the language potentially. Yeah. Whereas like it's just you're not seeing that as often. You're not going to an Irish restaurant and hearing the server and the cook and the owner speaking in Gaelic to one another.
Yes, you're right.
Happens as often.
No, that's
anyway.
Last Denver Nug for me, there was no Eileen.
Correct. Yes, and he lied about it for a while and said that it was fully true. It's not. Apparently, it is a composite of women that, as they were like, as I understand, like sort of repressed Irish Catholics, that they
can't have sex before marriage.
They wanted to sleep with all these different women, and now that they're on the verge or actually adults, this is what they
verge on dirty. Yes.
My Denver Nug is this. It's more a Denver Nug about how stupid I am. I thought that Too-Rye-Ay was her last name. For years, I thought this song was about a woman named Eileen Too-Rye-Ay. Like, I thought that was her name. Like, hi, I'm Scott Too-Rye-Ay. This is my sister Eileen. That's what I thought it was.
That's like me saying the song too close, and I had no idea I had to do it in erection.
And it's not like the way they were chanting it, like Eileen Too-Rye-Ay.
You're right. Though.
Like if it was like Eileen Spinelli, that's what it sounds like. So it's like I just thought, I don't know, Too-Rye-Ay is a weird name, but in my life I always thought like, wouldn't it be so funny, like on a dating app or something where, like, you don't give out your last name, so you get there like, hi, I'm Scott. Scott Spinelli is I know I did say on the app, and they're like, oh, I'm Sarina Too-Rye-Ay. Nice to meet you.
Yes. Yeah, it makes sense now that you say it like that. I was just like, oh, this is like another one of these bops where they just throw in Scooby Dooby Dooby. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I legitimately thought it was her last name.
This song.
Like, there's another version of the song where they're going over to the Too-Rye-Ay home and speaking to them. Hey, we really want to have sex with your daughter. Can we? I mean, come on. We
Thank
asked nicely.
goodness
Yeah.
they gave her a generic first name,
Yeah.
Eileen.
Yeah.
Too-Rye-Ay, like it wasn't like Tallulah, Too-Rye-Ay. It was,
Yes.
let's give it the number 7 Too-Rye-Ay. Just call her Mary, you know? Eileen.
The family Too-Rye-Ay.
This song was number 1 on the Billboard, and it won Best British Single in 1983 Brit Awards.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that all tracks. I mean, it was,
tracks.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, where you want to go first? Go first. Yeah.
I mean, just the first, again, it's really hard to go over. They start so fast. Poor old Johnny Ray sounded sad upon the radio, moved a million hearts in mono. Our mothers cried, sang along. Who blamed them, right?
Hold on, by the way, are you just going to do the whole verse? Or what?
It's all packed together because then it changes completely. Like this man, if you weren't paying attention, you'd be like, wait, hold on. What happened to Johnny? I lost track and now you're on Eileen.
So so in the research of this song, what was confusing to me was this song started out, I guess the original lyrics were about like an ode to artists they liked. I think it was called like James Stan or James Van and Me, something like that. And it was an ode to James Brown, Van Morrison, and I guess themselves. I don't know. But it was a little confusing. And then they basically came in and changed it. But what was odd was that, like you just said, the first verse is still talking about older artists. So it doesn't. I don't understand what the first verse has anything to do with the song.
The rest of the song at all. Like that's
most of this song is about trying to have sex with Eileen. That's what it's about. Absolutely. And so then randomly there's just like, oh, before we get into, forcing Eileen to have intercourse with us.
Yes.
Remember this guy from the past? Like
what? Why did you add that? And again, like that's cool, but like also you got to call out now all the moms who cried. Like, don't pull this masculinity card for no reason, because bro, you probably cried during Johnny Ray's songs that were sad on the radio. Like, it made no sense. I'm like, where in the world are we bringing him back? No, we're just moving
I didn't like
on.
that. First made no sense. I mean, the what is it? The bridge, the pre-bridge where they go, at this moment, you mean everything. That struck me as the most like teenage guy lyric I've ever heard.
Right.
Because like I'm sure you've been on the end of this as a girl, where like that this guy is only into you in that one moment for that one thing.
I've had a few tequilas.
Yeah.
Or in this version, a whiskey maybe or something.
Yeah. At this particular moment, I love that they say at this moment.
At this moment. You mean everything.
I would say 3 to 7 minutes later, probably not.
A month? I won't even know you. I'll go back to Johnny Ray.
Yeah, I'll find another member of the Too-Rye-Ay family and see if she's interested.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Family. And that's the thing. I mean, you in that dress, my thoughts, I confess, verge on dirty.
Well, I
love that.
It's also the most like British, like polite way.
Verge on dirty.
Verge on dirty. But it's also interesting because my next, I don't have anything from the second verse. Do you have something from the second verse?
These people around here were beaten down. I was like, what the hell? Why are you going? He did go back to like these misery things. Like what?
The verses and the choruses are separate songs.
Yes, maybe that's it. Who wrote this song? Because someone was over here and someone was over here, and y'all were taking too many Dexys. I don't understand what's happening.
And what's funny is I think what people remember about the song is you're chasing after Eileen again because it's the name of the song and the chorus, but the verses are different. And to that point, how chorus 1, verge on dirty, and then by the time we get to chorus 2 or bridge 2, whatever that is, chorus 2, it's let's take off everything. That pretty red dress, Eileen, tell him yes. Couple things. 1, it went from verging on dirty to, it's not just that I like your dress, take that shit off right now.
Yes. It's the prettiest way to say, let's have sex.
Yes.
Take off everything.
Take it off. Take it off.
Yeah.
Take it off right fucking now. So that's number one. Number two, I also love how it's now like it's almost got like a group scenario involved where it's Eileen, tell him yes. Tell him yes, not tell me yes. It's
Yeah.
a group of people are begging. Imagine if a group of people came to your house, Serena, and were like, come on, just have sex with this guy. Come on. Like, how weird would that be if they're like, you're like, it's not just the guy who's asking you, because that's normal. But if all those guys' friends are like, come on, take off your clothes, have sex with him.
Groupthink is dangerous.
What are you, a loser? Just have sex with him.
Yeah, go
All the other,
ahead.
all the other Too-Rye-Ay women did it. Like,
I'm gonna just verge on dirty.
not quite there yet. We're just verging. Wild, wild shit.
Ah, yeah,
It's just wild. And then in the video, he just goes up and grabs her. He literally just
Oh
goes
my
up and
God.
runs up and like grabs her. Like I was thinking to myself, just do that to the beginning. Like there's no, I mean, again, in a lot of these songs, the women have zero agency, so they are just pawns for the man, right? Do
Yes.
whatever they want with. But this one felt it's sort of fitting to end on this one because it truly is a man just saying, listen, either you're going to have sex with my guy here or we're going to scream at you in perpetuity to do it. But one way or the other, you're doing it. That's all there is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
In the words of the Spanish, lo siento.
Yeah, and this song, I mean, it's a confusing song because again, all I knew was like, "Oh, come on, Eileen, I'm just trying to hit on you." I never really
Yeah, sure.
considered like I could, to your point, like take off everything. We sing that like it's some sort of like yay for Friday, but it's like have sex with me. Like that's insane.
Imagine.
And
Okay, here. You are having a child. Okay. I imagine if your son wrote a song about a woman like this, or if your daughter had a song written about them like this, you would not think this was fun, right? You'd be like,
No.
if it was your son, you'd be like, all right, maybe let's talk about decorum
Yeah.
and how to approach a woman who probably doesn't like you, and if she doesn't, how to back away nicely. And if it was a woman, you'd say, stay away from this man.
Block that number.
He is a nightmare. He's a terror.
He is
It's
a
not good on
midnight
either end.
runner.
Yeah, this guy's a drug. Let's start from the top. He's a drug user who can't take no for an answer.
No, you know what? They are very entitled because I was trying to figure out like the deeper meaning of like why he mentions poor old Johnny Ray, and then these people around here, they're beaten down, they're sunken, smoke dried face, and then they resign to what their fate is. But no, not us. No, we're far too young and clever. I'm like, you entitled little prick. Oh, that's like a nepo baby or whatever they're calling them now.
That does make sense. So that to me, at least lyrically, at least aligns with the notion of they were about, let's say, between 14 and 18 years old.
Yes.
Just exploring sexual, relationships with women. So the notion of like, oh, we're not like them, we're better than them is like quintessential teenager. I'll never get sick. I'll never get ill. I can text while I drive. Nothing affects me because I'm, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like it doesn't any of your recommendations go yourself. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I've noticed that on this podcast, it is a weird thing that when you and I do and do not bleep ourselves out, there have been times where, I mean, I've cursed more than you, but there are times where you say it and then there are times where we don't. And I don't know why. Have you ever thought about this internally, or am I the only one that's thought about it?
I think just sometimes it needs it and sometimes it doesn't.
Fair enough. That's a healthier way to go about it.
Today I'm calling this man a prick. It's just it's terrible.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Quickly, you mentioned in the video that he's just constantly assaulting this poor woman, Eileen. But it is so odd. Like we mentioned at the top, like it's an ad for like ancestry.com and then a denim commercial at the same time. And I'm like, what the hell did I just watch? And it sort of goes along with the lyrics where I don't actually understand why certain lyrics are in and certain lyrics aren't in, but none of them look like they should be in a band.
Midway through. Doesn't it just change? It's about that Johnny Ray is like a black and white music video verse, and then it goes into, oh no, I'm sorry, the song's actually about trying to have sex with Eileen.
Yeah, and then they change completely. They're at a corner, they're singing like they're in a banjo band, but it's not a banjo. And
it's the lamest version of like doo-wop on the corner.
then they don't look like they've showered in years. Like
Nope,
they don't
nope.
look like they should be in a, like really, they don't look like they should be in a band. Like no one put them, there was no
What they look-
makeup.
What they look like they should be doing is accosting women, which if you wait to later on in the film, in the video, they take themselves up on that by doing that. I mean, he literally, again, I can't stress this enough. We are not being figurative. He literally runs up to her in the street, grabs her by the waist, and then that's it. Like he just takes her, like as if he was a dragon who swallowed her whole. Like this is the end. Pinocchio inside that whale. You know what I mean? Like that. That's it.
Yes. You got any final thoughts?
Not on this episode, or not on this song. I don't know.
No. This is
Rest
our
in peace
final
to the Too-Rye-Ay.
episode.
Yeah, rest in peace to the Too-Rye-Ay family, though.
Who never existed, but they existed in Scott Spinelli's mind and heart.
Before we get to the final thoughts, I think it would be a funny idea. I mean, you're potentially. I mean, do you check in with a real name when you go to hotels? What level of fame are you at?
I still use my real name. Yeah.
If you got,
but now I'm screwed and I'm gonna change it.
Well, now we can't do it. But I would say if.
Could you have Scott's Too-Rye-Ay or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like your name is Eileen Too-Rye-Ay when you check in the hotels.
I used to know when I worked for the Rams, I can't remember it, but like Sean McVay used to use a fake name when he checked in. Like the whole team would like check into the hotel, but his room was under like an inside joke. I can't remember it, but I used to like say the name out loud like often to just be obnoxious around people on the team. But yeah, I wonder. That's a good.
Well, now you know. Next time, if you ever want to do that, Eileen,
Too-Rye-Ay.
that's got to be it. I'll be John. I'll be John Schmidt of
Poor
Jingle
Johnny
Ray.
Ray. Johnny
Ray.
Ray.
I'll be Johnny Ray. I was gonna say I could be JJ John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt will be my of the Jingleheimer clan.
That's our first episode of season 2. Yeah. That wraps season 1 of That's What They Said. It's been a pleasure. You can catch all of our episodes, or the majority of them, on YouTube, all of them on Spotify and iTunes. And we will be back sometime sooner rather than later with more podcast episode things happening with music. And we will try and not pick good songs, because we're gonna stick to our guns and pick songs that just make no sense at all. But thanks. It's been fun. For Scott Spinelli and Sarina Morales, we'll catch you on another time.